Wisconsin weather experts. You have me, meteorologist Lisa Michaels, today for a very special episode on Halloween, which is October 31st. It's a Friday, but we're going to start off kicking off things in the Caribbean. The death toll, unfortunately, from Hurricane Melissa climbs past 30, and we are getting a new look at the aftermath. This video was taken in the Bahamas and shows what's left behind the storm after it made landfall. Homes were torn down, debris thrown everywhere, and many people were left without power. And in Jamaica, we're getting a bird's eye view of widespread devastation. The video is out of Black River, St. Elizabeth, which shows a neighborhood left ravaged. Again, that's not too far off from where the center of the eye made landfall. Roofs were torn off of homes, other homes were leveled, and debris lying everywhere. At least 4 hospitals on both sides of the island suffered heavy damage as well. Jamaica's health minister calls the situation dire. Another area still going to be dealing with, again, catastrophic impacts through not only the days, weeks, months, but years to come. So we are going to give you an update on where Melissa is at right now. Now, again, definitely does not look as organized in that hurricane or donut shape as before, but Melissa is interacting with a low pressure system in New England and is still in the Atlantic. Now, it is a post-tropical storm right now. It was still a hurricane earlier, but now post-tropical. And even though the storm is falling apart, it is bringing with some very heavy rain and extremely strong winds still. Sustained winds 85 miles an hour. So we're continuing to track this, especially by tonight and tomorrow morning. This is going to brush past areas in Newfoundland, moving over the ocean and continuing to make its way up towards Iceland by the weekend. So yes, moving away from us, but we are continuing to track flooding in other areas of the United States. Let's take a look at some of the areas because relentless rain and flash flooding that pummeled through New York City and beyond, with some locations receiving 3.5 inches. Now, there's reports of at least 2 deaths in Brooklyn, unfortunately. Police did find one man's body in a flooded basement, trapped by the rising waters. Police said they found another man in a flooded boiler room. Take a look at this, though, because it wasn't just New York that got impacted. This is a view of New Jersey. A rescue worker had to pull a child from a car that got stuck in a flooded road. Strong winds also sent trees toppling onto homes, cars, and roads. So, of course, we've been continuing to watch some of the heavy rain falling in the New England area. We will talk more about that coming up. You might have seen something like this in the skies back here at home. Did you see it? I know I was sleeping, but keep a close eye there. You will see a bright flash in the sky right there as this video is on repeat. A manager at a planetarium in northern Wisconsin confirmed that yes, this was a meteor, but it's not connected to any major meteor showers. We've been talking about this during the morning shows because while we typically have a lot of light pollution for Milwaukee, that can skew our view from seeing any kind of meteor showers. Usually we have to go outside of the city for that, but this was something coming through the atmosphere, obviously a little bit bigger, that it was able to cause this glow. So no aliens, nothing spooky heading into Halloween, but it is a little bit of a scary sight. Speaking of scary sights, does this spooky sight look familiar to you? Now, this was a time lapse of Halloween 2 years ago. You can see the blinding blankets of snow that coated the ground in southeast Wisconsin. Officially at the General Mitchell International Airport, 3.3 inches of snow was recorded back on Halloween in 2023. Now, that was the second highest snowfall recorded on this holiday in history. The record snowfall on Halloween for 5.4 inches for Milwaukee was back in 2019, so not that far before that. Well, despite the cold and wet conditions, some communities still allowed Halloween fun to continue. A couple years ago, we had communities allow kids to still go out trick-or-treating, even though it was postponed before, but a lot of them braved the weather on that mission to get a treat rather than being tricked. Now, we are going to continue to talk about our forecast for Halloween in just a little bit, but for the first time in decades, trick-or-treating in Milwaukee will happen tonight on actual Halloween night. Some people have concerns about moving it from Sunday afternoon to Friday night, but others tell us they are welcoming the change. Milwaukee police say that they'll have extra patrols out tonight, and the mayor sharing his thoughts on the decision to switch it up.
It just so happened that Halloween was on a Friday night, so kids don't have to get up for school the next morning. It's fun to go trick-or-treating on Halloween, and this is the other thing that I think is really important. Like, I'm a father myself. I got kids myself. I want to give parents back a day. All folks are always on the run. Give parents their Sunday back.
I'm sure you can relate with this. When I was younger growing up, you always had Halloween in the middle of the night. And yeah, you had to go to school early the next morning. So hopefully for kids who are enjoying it today, they'll be able to stay up a little extra late and sleep in tomorrow. Now, Trick or Treat in Milwaukee, it runs tonight from 5:30 to 7:30. In Mequon, the trick or treating will be tonight from 5 to 8 o'clock. Cudahy also has trick or treating from 5 to 8. In Racine, the kids will be out knocking from door to door from 5 to 7. And we're going to continue to track again this because you want to give you some tips if you are going to be heading out with your kids for trick or treating. You want to make sure you're visible. Choose light colored costumes or add reflective tape. Use sidewalks, crosswalks, and traffic signals, and stay alert. You want to make sure you're off your phone while walking and supervising kids. So what does this mean for us here locally? Yes, we are heading into Halloween. We are going to break down some of the stats because Halloween typically has a high temperature of 53 degrees and a normal low of 39 degrees. We're not going to be too far off from that, but we're going to be nowhere near the warmest and coldest Halloweens we've had on record. The warmest was 80 degrees back in 1950, while the coldest was 20 degrees back in 1917. We usually have snow, like we did a couple years ago, and in 2019, only about 7% of the time. So we are not favored to see much in terms of snowfall usually. And I promise you, we're not expected to see snow today. 40% of the time, we have some type of precipitation, and we do have a slight chance for that in the forecast today. Our trick-or-treating outlook for your Friday, it is going to be increasingly cloudy, and there's a slim chance we might have a couple raindrops or a few showers, not only here across the Milwaukee region, but statewide. We'll get to that coming up. We are going to also continue to track our temperatures because what we've been noticing is once that sun sets, our temperatures plummet quickly. So it is going to be rather chilly compared to last weekend for kids who will be heading out with wind chills that could be in the low 40s to upper 30s. We're watching a couple areas, again, trick-or-treating not the best in portions of New England. We're continuing to notice a strong occluded low pressure system with rain that's already been causing flooding concerns in New York and New Jersey like we've watched. There will be more of that and breezy winds, so a little soggy up there. What's also becoming a problem for a lot of the flooding concerns, it's the drought conditions, as we've been tracking high drought in areas of the Northeast, and that will continue to allow the heavy rain to not necessarily soak into the ground as quickly. Switching sides, though, we're heading towards the Great Lakes and Upper Midwest, where we also will have portions of possibly dealing with some snowflakes mixing in the Dakotas and Minnesota to some showers across our area. As we move through the forecast for Wisconsin, we are going to notice that the activity is rather scattered with this low pressure system. So most areas will stay dry for the trick-or-treat hours. I think areas near Madison, westward, and northern portions of the state have a better chance for dealing with a couple of those showers. Once we start to cool our temperatures and bring more moisture into southern portions of the state, that's when we could be dealing with the potential for a few showers late tonight and into Saturday. Now, Saturday, we still can have a few showers further south, but we will gradually start to see that drier and cooler air move in from the north. And with that, we'll be actually pulling out some of the clouds and rain Saturday night heading into Sunday. Starting off Sunday statewide with some sunshine, but notice thicker clouds moving in from the northwest again with our next frontal system. That will bring us not only thicker clouds come Sunday evening, but we'll have a very narrow band of rain that will be moving towards southeast Wisconsin. Looks to be Sunday night overnight into Monday morning, but should be out of here by the time you'll be heading to work and maybe for some kids heading back to school heading into next week. Temperatures across the state, of course, will be a little warmer from Milwaukee heading towards the border in the low 50s. We'll start to again see some of the colder air off to the north and west moving in, and that's going to push our high temperatures down a little bit as we head into the weekend. Saturday, the first day of the new year, we may only have high temperatures. New month, I may say, may only have high temperatures in the upper 40s. We will be below average, but notice as we are heading into next week, we do warm back up again for the first week of November with the potential of 60s back in the forecast. Now, something to note by this weekend, you will have to change the clocks. We are talking about daylight saving time coming to an end on Sunday at 2 a.m. on November 2nd. So what you want to do is set the clocks back 1 hour on Saturday night. We are going to have a big change when we do set those clocks back. While you'll get an extra hour of sleep maybe, we will have our sunsets then beginning in the 4 o'clock hour. So that's going to be the big troublesome factor, is we're already losing daylight. We're going to lose more of it because we are going to do this time change. We will be enjoying some sunshine right now though, as we can take a live look outside. We will also have a lot more coming up, especially in terms of a Halloween festive Wisconsin weather experts and someone special that I talked to about pumpkins. Stay tuned after the break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts right here on Fox Local and our YouTube page. We're going to talk about pumpkins, of course, very fitting for Halloween. And with it being fall, you may have noticed or been out to the stores or pumpkin patches to gather the biggest and heaviest pumpkins like I do. Now, we had Ben Handelman talk to pumpkin grower Mike Schmidt on Wisconsin Live Desk earlier this week. But I got to talk to the Wisconsin state record holder for the heaviest pumpkin, Jim Ford. I sat down with him for an interview. Take a listen. We have a fantastic person that we're interviewing today, Jim Ford. You are not only a legend to some in the pumpkin community, but for people who like large pumpkins in the state, you're a record holder, and we're going to break down everything with you today on how weather impacts pumpkins, some of your accomplishments and acclimates that you've received, as well as what is it like in the day of a pumpkin farmer. So I want to thank you for joining us. It's really a special honor to have you on our show. So thank you again. We're winding into later on in fall. Is this kind of your downtime right now, or is it still very active for you?
No, this is my downtime. Well, this is the time of year where we crack open our pumpkins, we collect the seeds, we dry them, and in a few weeks, other growers, we start putting out feelers, what we think the good genetics for next year, and we start corresponding with other pumpkin growers and say, hey, could I have one of your seeds, two of your seeds? Could we swap? So, and then the patch itself right now is in what we call a cover crop. It's, I put down a seed called winter rye, and it germinates about that high this time of year, and then it goes dormant in the wintertime, and next spring it comes up and it captures the nutrients that are left over in the soil, and it helps with soil biology. So,
and I want you to talk a little bit about some of the awards that you have received, because currently you're the Wisconsin state record holder for the heaviest pumpkin.
well, I grew that last year, and I had one this year was actually bigger, and I had hopes that I was going to at least break my state record from last year, and I came out short. So even though it was bigger, it was lighter, and so I guess I should be happy with a 2491 pound pumpkin. But if you're if you're thinking of hitting the stars and you only hit the moon, you might be a little disappointed for a few days.
Recently, you won an award in Minnesota as well.
Yeah, and that was for my 2,491 pound pumpkin. And there is an organization called the Great Pumpkin Commonwealth, and they have way off site sanction all over the world, even South America. I believe some in Australia, Europe, Canada, all over to North America. And so this Stillwater, Minnesota one was a GPC sanction event. There's like 4 or 5 ones in Wisconsin, but this last pumpkin had Stillwater written all over it.
And when does your season typically start for growing these big pumpkins?
This year I started my seeds April 5th inside. We grow them in 1 gallon pots, and within 2 weeks, I like to get them outside in the greenhouse over it. And so we trick the plant into thinking it's early June instead of mid-April.
How does weather impact growing these big pumpkins?
It has a lot to do with it. In the early season, if we get cold nights, you have to be careful. Even though they're in closed structures, you have to keep the plant warm. If you get the plants put out late April, if anybody should know, you should know, you could still get a frost for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we cover the structures with blankets and comforters. So we have to trick the pumpkin into thinking it's later in the season. So if it's too cold in the beginning of the year, that's a problem. And then during pollination time, if it gets too hot, these pumpkins will, these little small pumpkins will abort because the plant's under stress. And this year a lot of Wisconsin growers had a hard time getting their little baby pumpkins started.
Do you have a typical day? Most people, when they go to work, they'll get up, they'll have their coffee, breakfast, go to work, come home at dinner. I mean, do you have a set schedule that you have to abide by when growing these pumpkins?
Well, I'm semi-retired, so the days where I'm working, I get up, when in the heat of the season, I get up and I make sure everything is in place before I go to work. Maybe even water a little bit. And then when I guarantee you, if you're a competitive giant pumpkin grower, the first thing you're doing when you're coming home is you're running to your patch.
So do people reach out to you then for your pumpkins at the end of the year ever?
Yeah, when you have a big one going, and I put a lot of my stuff on Facebook, yeah, people reach out to you if they know you got a big one. And even though I don't grow for size, the last couple of years, a lot of my pumpkins been pretty orange, and that usually turns heads. And so, yeah, people reach out. I don't have to find buyers. They find me.
Do you have anything else you want to add and tell the public? Because you're the pumpkin expert here.
To all my pumpkin friends and competitors, watch out for 2027.
You're coming for them, and hopefully one day you're going to break your record, which you currently hold, and get an even bigger pumpkin. Heavier. Well, Jim, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I look forward to following you, hopefully meeting you one day, but I'm going to keep an eye out for you in the future because you do hold a lot of first place awards, and I'm hoping that you're going to get more.
I hope so too. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Well, live look outside. We see sunshine, maybe grabbing a last-minute pumpkin. I don't know if it'll be as heavy and as big as Jim's, but you can try. We'll have a lot more on our Halloween episode, including my costume. Yes, I have it on. Stay tuned after the break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts. Do you know what this is? Keep guessing. Keep guessing. All right, this obviously gives it away. Every year for Halloween, I dress up, but with a meteorological twist. And if you can't guess what I am, well, here you go. I am a rainbow. And we are going to talk about some puns, right? I always do this with my Halloween costume, too. So some rainbow puns today. What is a rainbow's favorite candy? Can you guess? It's Skittles, of course. I know the cheesy laugh, it gets me. All right, here's another one. What is at the end of a rainbow? And your hint, it's not a pot of gold. It's the letter W. You're gonna have to think about that. For spellers, rainbow ends with a W, so that is what is at the end of a rainbow. What does an artist and a rainbow have in common? They like to paint the sky. So there's some fun stuff. Well, I got to dress up here at the station for part of the day. We also had some bucks that were on the roll and got to dress up themselves. And take a look. We have Giannis, who was perfect dressing up in this costume as he arrived to Pfizer last night in style. He obviously is showing up as a minion, and Giannis is known for his Halloween outfits. Last year, he dressed up as Mr. Potato Head, and the year before that, he was the Hulk.
Now, how about guard Ryan Rollins as getting in on the fun as well? Now, Rollins dressed up as the Marvel superhero Blade. This is his first year with the team, and he might be giving Giannis a run for his money. He obviously likes to get in on the fun. Now, he definitely played the role of the hero last night with Giannis being out. Rollins scored 32 points to lead the Bucks to a win. Well, check out this incredible Halloween costume. This is from Just Man on TikTok. She made the Brewers Racing sausage costumes for Halloween. She says it took a lot of hot glue, cardboard, felt, but making it happen, and the results were well worth it. One more thing. It is back! This Halloween, reward members who show up to Chipotle in costumes can score the burrito deal. The $6 deal can be applied to a burrito, burrito bowl, tacos, salad, or quesadilla. There's also a costume contest where fans can dress up and share their costumes on TikTok between October 27th and November 2nd for a chance to win a Chipotle gift card. Well, how about how Halloween began to become what it is today? It wasn't always about witches and ghouls. It originated 2,000 years ago, mainly in areas that's now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France. People celebrated their own New Year on November 1st. Now, during the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, it marked the end of summer and harvest into the beginning of dark and cold winter, which typically was a time associated with deaths. The Celts believe that on October 31st, it was a boundary between the world of the living and dead where ghosts could return to Earth. Now, they often wore costumes made of animal heads and skins to tell fortunes and had sacred bonfires to protect them from the winter to come. Of course, there was an influence when people came to America between Europeans, between the indigenous people in North America, all to what it became today. So hopefully you can enjoy, dress up, have some fun, no matter what age you are. Enjoy the weather. We're going to have a lot more again for our Wisconsin weather experts next week, so stay tuned. Have a great weekend.